Welcome back to movementprofessional.com. So this video is in response to a question I got from a client regarding getting front inside knee pain during back squatting. So the first thing that came to mind when he mentioned this and that I wanted to address here was when you're getting that knee pain, where are you shifting your weight as you're getting into the kind of sticking point of the squat? He wasn't having any of this pain when he was going with lighter weights. It was just when he got a little heavier that he started to feel it. So one of the things you tend to see, especially with the back squat, is as the weight gets heavier, two things tend to happen. Because the weight's in the back, your weight will need to shift forward into the front of the foot a little bit more to feel like you can counter that heavier load in the back. So that anterior shift into the front of the foot can also shift weight into the front part of the knee. So that can help us understand why we might take a little bit more stress in the front of the knee. But to understand why it might be the inside and specifically on the left, the other thing that can tend to happen is if you are right side dominant or you tend to put more load on your right side, as the weight gets heavier, you'll go into that pattern harder because you feel like you're stronger on that side. So when that happens, you shift your body weight more to the outside of the right foot and the inside of the left foot. So as you're pushing up, you're still pushing up on both legs, but it'll be an inside pressure and more towards the front on the left, and maybe an outside pressure and everything's a little bit more to the front, so it'll be outer front on the right. So that can lead to more stress on the front inside. So some drills to do to help that. One, we'll do this with the stick in a second, but just forget about being a back squat and just work on the squat pattern. Elevate the heels so there can be more of a sense of pulling back through the heels, and we'll do this with both sides first. So the idea is to just get everything back first, to get out of the knee, get more into the hamstrings or get more into the upper hip muscles on the backside. So I'm going to pull back through the heels. The knees can come forward because that counters actually the back pull of the heels. And I want to keep my rib cage over my pelvis, so I want to almost think about my sit bones going to the back of the knees, and that becomes a hamstring cue. So I don't care how deep I go here, I just want to sink, I want to get as low as I can. I want to try to keep the space between my shoulder blades open. I want to keep pulling back through my heels, and I'm going to feel my hamstrings working to pull me down, and I'm just going to try to work as low as I can. When I feel like I can't go any lower without having to bring my torso forward or my shoulders forward, that's as far as I need to go. I'll bring myself back up, and I'll stay back through the heels as I bring myself up. So this is just giving me an idea of staying back as I descend, using my hamstrings to pull me down. Not really, again, worrying about the knees staying back, but really just staying back into the feet. Okay, and when I come up, it's helpful to feel more the outside of the heel more than the inside for the time being, just to kind of have us focus on staying away from the inside of the knee. All right, so we can do that for a couple reps, just really trying to sink down, pulling back, think arrows back through the heels. Knees can go forward, but your trunk, the space between the shoulder blades is staying back, and then you're just working down and up there. So that will be a partial squat, but you should feel the back of the legs working quite a bit. Now when you add the back squat into the mix or the back rack, it's helpful to do this with a PVC at first. Get the sense of, now I can't reach my arms forward, but I still want to be able to keep that space between the shoulder blade as open as possible. So I'm going to think about this hand moving that way, that hand moving that way, spread that space between the shoulder blades as I sink down and bring this back up. Okay, and then feeling I'm staying back, staying back, staying back, feeling the hamstrings, and then bringing that up. And again, don't worry about how low you go for the sake of what we're doing here. Now if we make it more of a traditional squat, we're going a little bit lower, we can get wide here, still keep that sense of spreading the space between the shoulder blades. Now I'm going to stay back through the outer part of my heel, think about spreading the legs, but it's also helpful to visualize the sacrum getting wider. So your knees are spreading, everything's just reaching and staying wide on the backside, and then as you come up, you still stay back through those heels. So you're always thinking about pulling back, but spreading at the same time. Pulling back and spreading, pulling back and spreading. Same thing as you come up. So again, you stay out of this inside of the knee, see if you can stay back through those heels. It's very helpful to elevate the heels to do this, just so you have more ability to shift back without falling backwards on your butt. All right. And then the second piece of this would be if you are shifting too much into the left side, and shifting too much to the right side and you're pushing through the inside of the left foot a little bit more, we can do all these drills with a little bit of an orientation to the right. So if we have we could just use the one wedge for this, just to be narrow here, we start going down, but instead of thinking about both heels pulling back, I'm going to reach my right knee, I'm going to pull back a little harder into the left, and I'll reach my right hand a little bit harder than my left. So now I'm feeling my left hamstring a little bit more, so that gets me oriented to the upper part of the back of the leg as opposed to the distal part of the front of the knee here. All right, so it gets me out of here and gets me up here, and then I'm going to bring that up. And it also gets me out of the right leg a little bit. So it helps me feel that shift to the left, so I'm almost overcompensating for my natural tendency to go to the right when things get heavier. So I can do that there, and then I can go wider into more of a traditional stance here. And as I'm going down, I'm just going to think about outer left heel, 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 and just work that so I get that reference as I'm going through the squat pattern. All right, so hopefully that's helpful. Again, this isn't necessarily looking at how to squat properly. It's just looking at a relationship to if there is stress being brought to the front inside part of the knee, what cues can we use to shift the load elsewhere? So outer left heel, or just in general getting back into the posterior part of the foot can get us out of the knee a little bit, but we also have to think about the relationship up the chain. So if you have any questions, because I know this can be a complex topic, feel free to reach out by commenting below. See you next time.